Okay, good evening, traders. Oh, good afternoon, even. Time is 9 minutes past 2. We're going to start on with DXY, even though, in my opinion, DXY is a bit sloppy considering the way the euro is looking. But we're going to start on with the monthly. Let's just hide these for a second. I'm going to start on with the monthly because now we have basically came into this liquidity, filling in this liquidity this far. I mean, we're coming in with 5 days left, so basically we've got this trading week left until we get a new monthly closure, and we are looking like we are leaving a fair value gap. As we can see, we did create that wick basically at the BlackSquare level at the force, where we have pushed up quite significantly, quite a nice push. But in my opinion, I feel like we are going to collect 105.8834. This will come further down because the way the euro and the cable is looking, I feel like the dollar is going to continue staying in this range. As we can see, it's collected liquidity. It came into this liquidity here. Let's go to the weekly. I mean, we've still just had another bullish week, but it's getting the candles, the volume, the wicks it is leaving, it's getting exhausted, as we can see. But I'm going to see we are going to fill in this into 105.883 before else. I mean, there's not really much. We can see still do have this marked on it. I mean, we didn't come down, but we did stay above this high, and we came up. I mean, there's not really much I need to see it on the dollar 4 hour. I mean, there's not much to really see on the 4 hour now. It's still trending up, as I can see. As I'm seeing with the dollar, it's a bit more complicated the way it is looking compared to the euro. So anyways, let's just go to the euro now. What I do have marked on, I mean, I do have these levels marked on. I mean, we came in 106.378, which it could hold. I mean, it has closed like this, and we are trending. That's why I'm seeing the dollar is looking nothing like the way the euro is looking. I mean, the euro is a lot more straightforward, and that's why I am liking the euro chart. As we can see, our ribbons, we have came down, so we are going to more or less have to try and find something interesting happening here to try and come up. As we can see, what happened here, we did close at this and did dump down 148 pips. I mean, does I want to dump down another 100 pips into this red zone? The reason I do have this red zone marked on is, as you can see, we do have this BlackSquare force level where I feel like I could hold. As we can see, we have had three monthly wicks within this level, which is 105.413, and we are more or less got 5 days left for this trading week, for this trading month, sorry. And we are more or less what we're wanting is to see how it reacts with this fair value gap, at 107.659, which is a weekly fair value gap. Yeah, it's a weekly fair value gap. So we're more or less going to see how it acts here. I mean, we do have this 106.378, which could hold, but who knows? And if we've got the monthly, we're more or less going to be in for the monthly. We're going to have to wait for the monthly to close, but since the weekly has closed at this, I am feeling like the bottom is more near than we are anticipating. But what we do want is a bullish candle to say, yeah, this could be a bottom. But let's go on the lower time frame. Well, let's scale down. We've got that 3 days. There's not really much to see. We're going to see how this goes, but we can see here we do have some liquidity to collect. So we do have some liquidity to collect down here, which is a EE pip range, so who knows what could happen. Daily, there's not much to see, but if we just go on the daily and the 2 hour, we can see we do have some liquidity from this high, which is 107.368 to 106.736, which is a nice 63 pip range. 63 pip liquidity gap we could see it, and within this gap we do have our mid VWAP. I mean, it's a lot different compared to 2 hour. I mean, we didn't catch these shots. I mean, I was waiting for it. I did catch cable shots though this week. But yeah, this was a beautiful dump from FOMC, which was we were expecting, but I was in cable shorts, so I didn't really want to take another position. But we did have that correct in the first place. But back to the charts, as we can see, if we can come up into this area this week, we could short it because the floor is still down. I mean, what we do have on a 2 hour is we are currently testing our bottom VWAP, so it could just slide down from here, but there's a lot of liquidity to be collected within this zone we do have marked on. So yeah, that is what we're going to be looking for this week, is to see how this does get filled, and if it shows something interesting, good short mid VWAP. That's what I'm waiting for, more or less waiting for a daily mid VWAP, because I feel like for this week to really come up into our 2 hour mid VWAP slash 4 hour mid VWAP, I don't feel like it's very very realistic to really come up that high and come back down. But who knows what could happen, more or less, if it bullish. I want to see a weekly low take now before anything else like this, similar move like this. But if we go back to daily, I want to see how this gets filled. As you can see, we are still trending down. I mean, we've got no fair value gaps on the weekly. I mean, 2 weekly we do. We've got a nice fair value gap here. We could mark that on, to be fair. We can mark this on at 106.858, and if we go to daily as well, we can see where this is. That could be a nice level. A 2 weekly cycle. But yeah, I want to see how our daily mid VWAP is respected. So that's more or less euro. As we can see as well, we are more or less on the study that we are more or less coming into a oversold market now. We're getting a lot of bulls and pivots to come close down. More or less what I am going to be waiting for is to see if a weekly can do something interesting. As you can see, this has called the tops many times. As you can see as well, BlackSquare did call the euro top here, more or less from the wick to the force, which is at 1.12809, which is a very nice level. I do have this marked on, so I do have this level marked on, so I'm not going to go into why, but for now, we're just going to focus on what the weekly is going to do and the next month. As you can see, we clearly are still trending up on the weekly. But yeah, guys, that is euro. Cable, the reason why I feel like the dollar is going to go further down is because the way the euro and cable is looking. If we go to the cable on the 2 weekly, now let's start on the monthly. In fact, I do have this marked on again from the force from BlackSquare at 1.21750, which is within this bearish candle, which could do something interesting. But if we zoom further down on 2 weekly, we do have the force here at 1.2281, just below a nice fair value cap, but we do have some liquidity here from a fair value cap as well. So more or less we're going to be waiting to see how, I mean, this week it's going to come further down, in my opinion, into these this red zone, so which is it, 1.22186 to 1.21434, which is a 75 pip gap, range even. Oh yeah, 75 pip gap. So we're going to want to see how it really comes through down. I mean, it has left a um, nice 2 weekly fair value gap. Same with the monthly, it's huge, and that's why I feel like we're going to just shoot back up the way it is looking. I mean, if we draw a fib on as well, if you go back to the last week, what we did have, we did have this level marked on, and our target was achieved. We did short it, but it has collapsed further down. This has not hold for double bottom within this high, which would have been the 61.8% Fibonacci. But now we are coming closer down. We're going to be focusing on these retracement levels to see how wants to act. I mean, I do have this low marked on because it could potentially be a um, nice little area to leave that weekly wick, because for it to really come back up into 1.23 785, I mean, it's a possibility, but not all the way. I would feel like we're coming the force on BlackSquare at 1.23 303 at our bottom V up, but it has to happen fast. But the way the daily is looking, I mean, it depends. It could just shoot up, but if it shoots back up, I would like a short. That's why I do have to mark down this pool of liquidity. It could come up, and some shorts could be activated here within this low, which could be nice. So yeah, guys, that is cable. We're waiting for these levels to be achieved. So going this week is to look for shorts, then to see if we could pump it back up. So for now, we want to see how it reacts here with our ribbons. I mean, we can see on the study we are more or less getting oversold, but it's showing us that the trend is more or less nearly over. I mean, if we go to daily as well, I mean, yeah, look, this it's come more, it's declining further. So that's why I'm seeing the bottom is now. But yeah, the trend is still down. We are more or less gonna have to wait for a weekly push candle. I mean, it could just shoot back up here, but since we do have these fair value gaps on the 2 weekly and even on the weekly as well, I mean a small one here, but a nice one here. We're gonna be running for some shorts to try and fill in these fair value gaps before we try and pump up. So yeah, guys, that is it. That is cable. I mean, gold. I'm still in gold longs. I'm not gonna analyze gold because it's still ongoing with what I am waiting for. But there's not really much I need to see on gold. Look, because if we just the weekly, in my opinion, is very sloppy. But if we go to the daily, has got some liquidity. That's why I'm long it. But it's got liquidity down here. That's why I do have these zones marked on. But if we just look where it did come down and came into the force, more or less into the force here. And yeah, we are more or less playing the longs for now. So that is gold. I'm not really going to analyze it because there's nothing I need to point out because I'm still holding it. Bitcoin, I mean, we do have these highs, and I thought since 3D was going to close like this, we were to collapse, but it has not. I mean, the weekly is very weak. It got softer and softer, and if we were to pump up, it should have pumped up from this, in my opinion. But since the weekly is looking like this now, I would like to see just one big red candle, well, one big black candle, because our candles are black. But yeah, I see one big candle to the downside, and yeah, let's see what really happens. I mean, it has to happen this week because if the monthly closes like this, it could potentially see, yes, might seek higher, but there's not really much on it to see. I mean, we still are holding on the 3D force at 25k more or less. As we can see, it did wick down into it perfectly and shot up, but there's not really much on it to see on Bitcoin. XRP, it still looks like it is potentially pricing in a higher low. I mean, the monthly is a bit choppy. 2 weekly looking like it's priced in a higher low as well. So we'll have to see what happens. I mean, it's going to close bullish, but it's not very strong. And we do have some liquidity within these highs, so it could come up and it could just come back down, but we'll have to see what happens. If it does hold and prices in the high low, it could potentially seek higher into maybe the top of this channel. The equities, I feel like we're not going to see the crash now, but I mean, what I was expecting on the Nasdaq is I thought we were to fill in this fair value gap, but since it has been left, it's shown that we are more or less going to come back up. And now, in my opinion, it'll just look like we are going to see a nice little correction into this high at 13,723, and I feel like we're going to aim for this week at 14,220. So we'll have to see what happens. I mean, it's an interesting daily candle, but since we've got these levels marked on, the 4 hour did that on Friday at the closing, so now we're going to have to see how far up it wants to wick, and if it doesn't wick up far, more or less when we aim for this. I don't really have any levels to see where I could wick up into, but we can see that like where it has wicked into. It's not really anywhere, to be fair. It's a no man's land. But yeah, this week is to short NADA and the short SPX. And I mean, that's it, guys. I mean, there's not really much I need to see in a dollar. More or less waiting for the euro bottom to happen, man. It's close. I might be wrong, but the way it is looking, I'm gonna see this is pricing in a high low before it really melts. One more high before it melts. And once we beat one more high, I feel like we could just see like just red, well, downside candles like what we've seen here, but it's getting weaker and softer and softer. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching this weekly outlook. Hopefully it is another successful week. So yeah, guys, thanks you for watching.